as AI has become more powerful and more prevalent, we need a way to distinguish humans and agents acting on humans' behalf from bots that are these ephemeral throwaway identities on the internet.
Yeah.
Do you know how much financial loss there was from like deepfake enabled fraud?
How much was it?
Over $1 billion. We have almost 40 million users who have like created a world ID, and 18 million of those people have verified at the org. So you can know that that person you're seeing on Zoom isn't a deep fake. That person is actually on the other side of the call.
Hello, innovators, entrepreneurs, and risk takers. Welcome to another episode of Web3 with Sam Kamani podcast. And today on this podcast episode, I'm interviewing Ian from World Foundation, where they are solving the problem of identity, especially in the age of AI. As always, nothing that we talk about in this conversation should be taken as investment or financial advice. And please like, share, subscribe, and follow. With all that out of the way, let's get into it. So Ian, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. I'll just give you a quick background about myself and what I do in this space and all that. Been in crypto for a very long time, pre the whole ICO boom and all that. Built a couple of startups, had a couple of small exits in the pre-crypto era in the Web2 space, and then been running this for last 5 years, interviewed over 400 different founders in C-level from mostly L1s, L2s protocols. Most of the conversations around that today are around what you guys are building, what problems you guys are solving, what challenges you guys are facing. In really about token prices, retail trading, meme coins, anything like that. So it's great to have you here. And before we get into everything you guys are building at World and for humanity itself, before we get into that, would love to learn a bit more about your journey. How did you get started in crypto and blockchain and all that?
It's a fun story. So I would say that I was crypto adjacent for a really long time.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a really tech forward family. So my dad and my uncle did some crypto mining operations back in 2014. And then later on in 2018 or so, I helped them out with a GPU mining operation. My pay for that was a Bitcoin that I sold at 600 or something. That might have been a bit earlier, but I sold a whole Bitcoin at 600.
So you made a lot of profit back then. It's I don't know anyone who invested at very early stage and they got 100x return and they sold out because they were at 10x, 50x, 100x. It was hard to hold on.
It wasn't that I had invested. It was that's what they'd made from the mining, and that was what I got paid for helping out, which was fun. But I was still just crypto adjacent. Went off to college, dropped out after a year when COVID hit. Started working on my own startup that, again, wasn't crypto, but when I wound that down was when I started working in crypto. Yeah. So around that time was Constitution DAO, which I was a part of, and that was, I say, the moment where I went from someone interested in crypto to I am in crypto. That was the wildest week of my life.
Yes.
And then spent the last 3 years working with World.
That's great. And so I'm sure most people have heard about World in the industry, but for someone new out of the industry, how would you describe World to them that if they are not very crypto savvy, that they can also understand?
Yeah, I would say the core mission of World is to create a way that you can prove that you're a real human online, totally anonymously, right? Mm-hmm. That's World ID. Right, we have this device called the orb that is what actually checks to make sure that you're human, right? Yeah. But it can do that without needing to ever ask your name or asking to know your phone number or email address.
Yeah.
Right, we can do it completely privately using a ton of really advanced cryptography. Yes. But in short, it's that as AI has become more powerful and more prevalent, we need a way to distinguish humans and agents acting on humans' behalf from bots that are these ephemeral throwaway identities on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. And over time, most of the traffic on internet is going to be bots and agents. It's already happening in some parts of society, such as trading. crypto trading, a lot of the traffic these days, 60-70% is just bots and agents, because it's so much easier. And I think that yes, the human traffic and the human interaction will be valued even more when everything else is commoditized. But then why not just do like KYC, AML, all that, AML, KYC, all that?
So, one thing I want to like make super clear is that we're not necessarily trying to replace like KYC and AML, right? There are lots of situations where those are like required by law for very good reasons. And at least today, like World ID is not something that can fulfill that use case, right? You can't use World ID to open a bank account. But if it's a situation where KYC and AML isn't a legal requirement, why should you be required to, send a photo of your passport to this website, right? It's bad for me as a user because now that data of mine exists somewhere that I don't control. I have to trust that they are handling it safely and securely and actually deleting it when they say they're deleting it, right? But they like have to store it for some period of time. And the platforms actually don't like this as well, because under data privacy laws like GDPR, this is now personal data that they have to treat as this form of like almost toxic waste, right? Like they have to be very careful with how they handle it, a lot of compliance overhead. So something that can solve the same problem for them of knowing, yeah, this is actually a human, no, they're not someone who we've banned in the past, right? And like some very basic things like that. World ID can solve that problem for them, but way more privately and actually more conveniently as well. Like the user experience is better than having to take a photo of your passport every time a website wants to make sure you're just a human.
Yes, absolutely. That does make a lot of sense. So who are the first customers and users of World?
So in terms of users, like people who have like become a part of the World ecosystem in one way or another, right? We have almost 40 million users who have like created a World ID. And to be clear, like creating a World ID is just like installing a World ID compatible app, right? Primarily World app. And 18 million of those people have verified at the orb. So we already have like some really significant traction in terms of users all around the world. And now that I think we've hit some sort of critical mass with that network, we have some really, really cool integrations of World ID on the application side that those users can use. So just 2.5 weeks ago at our event Liftoff in San Francisco, we announced an integration with Zoom. So you can know that that person you're seeing on Zoom isn't a deepfake, that person is actually on the other side of the call.
Very big problem. That's so needed now.
It's a huge problem. Do you know how much financial loss there was from like deepfake enabled fraud last year?
No, I have no idea. How much was it?
Over $1 billion.
That is crazy.
It's over 3 times as big as it was in 2024, right? So it's already a huge problem that's still rapidly accelerating. The tech is only going to get better and better for these like real-time deepfakes. So you can't rely on like, oh, well, I know my friend's voice. That's not a solution to that problem anymore. So we're really excited about the Zoom integration, right? Van Eck, for example, has already like committed to using that. But we also have more consumer use cases, not these like strictly enterprise ones. So our partnership with Tinder, integrating World ID for knowing that the account you're seeing is a real human, they're not a bot, and they're not a catfish specifically. That's now live in the US as well.
Very interesting topic. So regarding like hacks and things like that in the crypto ecosystem, most of the hacks are not really smart contract, or they're not breaking the cryptographic, locks or anything. They are just social engineering scams. And the most common one is like phishing scams and sending you a Zoom invite and trying to get on a call with you, and as a person that they are misrepresenting, or like they're not fake. It's a deep fake basically of some form. or like a filter that they have on their Zoom that looks like another person that they should be talking with. So, and asking for passwords and things like that. So that's the most common, and it's only going to get more common. So I think this is very well needed. So how does the user journey look like for someone? So how would the whole Zoom integration work?
Yeah, so for the Zoom integration, like, there's an app in Zoom's like marketplace
Yeah.
that enterprises or users will be able to install. If you join a meeting and someone asks that you verify with World ID, it pulls up a QR code that you scan with World app. You do need to be Orb verified to do this.
Yes.
Because when you verify at the Orb, the images that it captures are stored on your phone and nowhere else. So Zoom asks that you verify. You take a photo of your face with your phone's camera as well, and it's comparing the image of your face from the phone's camera, the image from the Orb that was signed and stored on your phone,
Yes.
and the image from like the stream on Zoom to make sure that they all match.
Yeah.
And then and only then do you get the like verified human sort of watermark on the Zoom feed so that everyone else in the call can know, like, yep, this is actually them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That makes sense. And then like what you're talking about, dating apps, that is also very prevalent, very very common. I live in New Zealand. I have like friends who are like ex-cops who became like private detectives, and their whole job now is to go and find or find out if it's like a romance scams. So these are very very common. So it's mostly the target there. It's like rich single or divorced women, and there would be a guy, someone catfishing, and he would be somewhere in Nigeria or somewhere not even in the country, and trying to be someone who he or she is not. And it's very very common, and I think we are seeing more and more of that in social media as well, happening all the time. How would it impact, like social media, like in your point of view, like the adoption of World?
It's something that I am extremely excited for, right?
Yeah.
Every investor I've ever had and every job I've ever had,
Yes.
like, would not have happened without, a relationship that started on Twitter.
Yeah.
Seriously, 100%. So for me, it's like having social media platforms be like a useful place for meeting like-minded people and building these relationships. I owe a lot to that.
Yeah.
And having stayed on Twitter as a transition to being X,
yes.
and seeing how much the platform has changed and how many more bots there are, like, that is genuinely a like really concerning thing for me.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that other people who are like, students or recent graduates who are like looking to get into the industry, like,
Yes.
I'm worried that the things that really enabled me to get into this space aren't there anymore. And World
Yeah.
ID can be a huge, huge, huge help in solving like that problem on social media. So I'm really excited for, what comes next there.
Absolutely. I completely understand what you mean by that. A lot of the listeners of this podcast are founders and builders. How can they get involved? What can do you guys have SDKs, APIs? How can they integrate so that people using their products do not have to do AML KYC yet be verified and that they're human?
Yeah, we have like a pretty broad range of ways to integrate World ID.
Yes.
You can always go to docs.world.org and look through everything there, right? But we
Yeah.
have like ID Kit, which is our SDK for like a web application or a desktop app to integrate World ID. We have mini apps. These are applications that open inside of World app.
Yeah.
They can connect to the wallet there, send transactions on World chain, integrate World ID as well. We have Agent Kit built on top of X402.
Yes.
So if you're a platform that wants to allow agents to interact, but not bots,
Yeah.
right? You want agents to be used by humans to extend their capabilities. You can use agent kit, so you know that like, oh, a real human is behind this
Yes.
agent, right? Because from a technical perspective, bots and agents are no different. It's purely the intent of if it's a useful tool extending a human's capabilities, or
Yeah.
if it's this ephemeral throwaway online identity.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you see world in the next, say, 2 years or so, 2 to 3 years? What's
I-
the vision of the team?
I think a lot of scaling in terms
Yes.
of like the number of users verified at the orb, the number of use cases for World ID, how widely
Yes.
distributed they're used. That's really what I think our like primary focus is.
Fantastic. And then the final question is, do you guys have a ask? Are you guys looking at like another funding round? Are you looking at partnerships, hiring, anything? Feel free to share with the community.
I think the biggest thing is like,
Yes.
just think about if World ID can be useful for your product, your application, your platform. Right? We would love to hear your ideas of how World ID can help solve your problem, and if there's anything
Yes.
we need to do to help enable that, we want to know.
Fantastic. So thank you so much. What I'll do is I'll leave the links to everything that you guys are doing in the show notes, description, and comments. And thank you so much for your time, Ian. It's been an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure talking with you. That's it, folks, for today. And if you got value out of this conversation, you enjoyed it, then do not forget to share it with your crew and leave a comment, like, and subscribe so you do not miss the next episode, because we will be sharing a lot more insights and industry secrets as always. And also, nothing that we talk about here should be taken as investment or financial advice. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you're building something really interesting, then I want to hear from you. Leave it in the comments, reach out to me. You will find all the details in the show notes description, or just search for Sam Kamani. I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode. Peace.